guess we're live. I'm not exactly used to this shit. This will probably go private after I'm done with it, so. Alright. Alright, looks good. Let me check the stream real quick. Are we back up? Good. Let me check the stream real quick. Yeah, you're gonna hear an echo because it's like really bugged. So, are we back up? Good. Man, the mic volume is so low. Yeah, you're gonna hear an echo because it's like really bugged. So, because this is really bad. Are we back up? Man, the mic volume is so low. I'm just gonna turn this up a little bit. It should be better. Alright? Okay. This is really bad. I should be hitting here more often. Maybe I should just speak up or some shit, but this looks fine. A little bit. It should be better. Alright? Okay. Alright. I think it works. So. Alright, so this is what we have right now. This is really janky. Hold up, I'm just gonna close that out because that was a disaster. So what do I do here? Let's see, I need to figure out where I left off first. I need to delete that because there's nothing I'm gonna be using here. Alright. Yeah, that looks good. So let's see about this. Alright, client. So I was taking I was working on a file transfer thing. Wasn't really exactly very useful to the thing itself, but it's okay, I guess. It was more wise for use in I don't know. It's not very useful. I don't think it really works, especially on binary based files. If it's a text file, then yeah, it works. But the problem that I have here is that obviously using string length, there's going to be null bytes in like an executable or something, so if it runs across that, it'll like the string length function will find out that it terminates at somewhere that it's not supposed to. So if I go to send file, also don't take any of these naming schemes too seriously. Half these are completely bad. A lot of them are just for like debugging. They're just terrible. Like socket, that's just not it. Anyways, so the issue we're having is obviously sending something like an executable. If we go to like a hex, let me just open some. Let's just use this DLL injector I made. This is the 4th byte right here is a 0, so it's just gonna string length is just gonna think that it's only 3 bytes long. So it'll create an executable that's only 3 bytes long. That just doesn't work. So yeah, so it doesn't work at all. Yeah, so we need to work on a better way of doing it. We check if it's the end of the file where we're constantly reading bytes, but it doesn't seem to work very well. If we create a text file though, we'll just call this random, and I'll just put in some new shit like that. If we go to the client, this is already hard coded because this is not like very serious right now, and this is desktop. That's the source, and then this will just be the output that we get. Normally this would be like across computers, and it works the same way, but obviously it's not the exact same thing because I'm running these both on the same PC. So we'll just call it random1. I'll do it like this, like Microsoft does, and I'll go on errors. No, okay. Alright, let's start the server. This is more like just a random thing to fuck around with. This is not. This is not like very serious at all. That's why half of this is just terrible. like connect to port that. That's just bullshit. All right. Let's see. So if I first have to connect, because this is this can accept multiple ones, so alright, that works. So we're gonna use some command, and now this makes no sense, but we'll just do keylog and let's see if it worked. We get random 1 right here, and let's see the transfer. It did. Okay, but the issue with that is it's text-based, so of course it's not going to have that issue. Now, let's go to a hex editor. I will just open this text file, and I will insert. I will just select the 4th byte right here. I think I can edit this. I'm not sure if it will let me. There you go, that 2nd byte will just make a null byte, and we'll just save that. That way we should just get some random nonsense in there. Alright, so that 3rd byte now, so we should only get 2 bytes out of that source. So let's actually, we'll just do the same thing. And now we get, also we got this nonsense stuff. I'm not sure about that, but yeah, no, we just get add because it terminated. So how do we fix this? Number 1, we could just not use string length, but it's kind of hard to do that. It's pretty hard to do that when like, cause I'm pretty sure eat.ev will show up as true if once I read this. Yeah, as you can see. So a big problem I have here is it first reads it and then checks if it's the end of. And if it is, then it already, so what happens is when I read, since this is obviously past this size in bytes, like this is 27 bytes, and I'm reading 8 kilobytes at a time, which is very slow and archaic, but you get the point. You know, it just messes up. So let's see here. We could, this is already messy as it is, so it's not like I'm doing something crazy anyway, but we have the buffer. This is more or less me thinking to myself. Read it, check if it's the end of the file, and then we send it to the server after it's done, if it's the end of the file, which it is in this case, and we're gonna check to see if it terminates. So what we could do potentially, which is also really messy, is we could get the last of instead. So like if we did let's see string buff, we'll use the string constructor itself. We'll just put buff and then the max buffer size. This is just a macro, this is just 8 kilobytes. So if we do this, and then instead, let's see, find last of, because we zero out this buffer, it's only going to copy in what it actually is there. So we'll find last of if this is the actual last bit of the file, and we'll just do find last of, and we want to find the string literal like that. So maybe this would work, and I'm not being too go about resources at all, so that should keep the same position relative. So let's try it now, potentially. Now we should just get some nonsense. Also, let's delete random 1, and we can close that. So send command keylog, and here we have random 1 that showed up, and it did work. It just looks like a space. It shouldn't be a space, yeah. But then you get all these null bytes at the end. So that's kind of an issue. Because obviously when we're finding the last of, it's going to be like the very end. So we're just going to receive everything. And I mean everything. But an issue is it's hard to know, because the server, what it does is it only will close the stream and break out of the loop when the actual received file bytes that it receives is less than the actual max buffer itself, because that means it knows that it's run out of space. So it's up to the client to actually, trim it off. So that's kind of hard to do. Find last of obviously wasn't a very good idea. I don't know why I even thought of that. String length also doesn't work because it can find the it'll find like some random one. We could wait to see if there's we could check to see if there's like we could also insert an end code to it. That would probably be ideally the best, like an end opcode to it. And then once we receive the end op, where we can like potentially place it in. It'll read in all the bytes, but the issue is we don't know exactly how much of the file is actually there. So we would have to find out how many bytes we actually put in order to do that. So that's an issue. It's kind of hard to do. I have to check something on Stack Overflow. So that's where our main problem is stemming from. It works perfectly with text files and stuff, because you're not really gonna have a null byte in like a .text file, but if it's anything binary, like if it's a PNG file that has binary data, then you're gonna have a problem, because there's always null bytes in binary. Like if I check like one of these screenshots from like Oculus, there'll be like a null byte somewhere in there, so it's just gonna mess up. Which I was aware of when I did that, but I just didn't think it would be that big of an issue. So that was kind of a well, for now we'll just go back to maybe we just don't work on this. Maybe we just scrap this for now, because obviously we kind of got a working prototype. We can like transfer over a text file and it works fine, but doing this like with an actually useful thing like grabbing a picture or something just doesn't work very well. Even though it would be a really good feature, I would have to think of like some really hacky solution for it, and even then the chances of it working are pretty low, because this is something I made after all. Because if it's not the end of the file, let's say this is a larger file, it's gonna keep going, right? And it's just gonna send the max size over. That's the maximum bytes that it's sent over, right? So in this case, we have quite an issue, like a very big issue. So now we need to come up with a hacky solution to actually find out exactly how many of those bytes from the file we actually read in. So, interesting. Okay. Because if that's the case, we wouldn't even need to check if that's the end of the file. We could just plop it down. It would clean up the code quite a bit, like a lot. So if we can actually do that, that would be fantastic. We could do a series of bytes. Well, that's once again the issue, is finding out where to put those series of bytes, right? Because that string. We could do like a could do a pattern scan to see like if we find like 25 zeros in a row. But the issue with that is there still is 25 zeros in a row, and a lot of, let's see if I go to an executable once again, there'll probably be more than 25 zeros in a row at some given point. And there's no way that would, because it wouldn't work for every single one. Like if I open this, let's for instance do that. Here we have 2, 3 in a row. There's just going to be way more than that. So usually it's used as padding in an executable. Honestly, right now there isn't too much, but there's a null byte. It's kind of hard to find, but I mean, there's null bytes everywhere, so it doesn't exactly work very well if we try to do that system that I used, which I'm not really surprised about at all, but it's still an issue nonetheless. There's another one. Yep, so it doesn't look like we're gonna have much luck without maybe using, like, checking to see if there's multiple, or instead of using like a 0, we could memset the entire buffer to contain a different byte, like a less common. The issue is I don't know what is less common than a null byte. I guess null byte isn't super uncommon. If I did there's a lot of potential solutions to this. I'm just thinking right now. It's kind of a issue. I'm sure I'm just retarded, and oh, that's not Boku no Pico at all. No, that was out of context. So what is less common than that? I don't think that there would be a byte that's like, I haven't seen many O1s. There's an O1 right there, so that doesn't exactly work. But we could try to find like 14 or 20 O1s like in a row. But the issue with that, once again, is that if it's just, let's say it's just barely within the size, let's say it's like 3 bytes less than 8 kilobytes, then that you'll only have 3 ending ones, which may be enough, because the chances of 3 O1s recurring is very, very low. So maybe we could try that instead, potentially. So we could do S encryption. This is not any encryption. This is just the name of the header file that I've kept forever. So just, oh, this isn't even, I don't even use this. We just use memset because we're just gonna one out all these bytes. So we'll just do buff the actual value itself. So let's do O1, and then and something like the size itself. So we could do like what am I talking about? I need some coffee. I haven't even woken up yet. Alright, so now it's filled with nothing but O1s. Now the chance of 3 O1s occurring in a single point is very low. Now, given the amount of bytes in a .exe file, there may be that one file that you can't transfer over because it has 3 of those and you only receive half of it. Like, so it's still dodgy, but let's try it. So we'll do int size. I'll just set this equal to 0. And actually what I can do is just have a for loop here. So I'm going to do for int I equals I is less than or equal to max buffer is I plus plus. Alright. This might not be as useful for that, but whatever. So once again, we want to see if the current I is the current like position of that is equal to whatever. So you get the point. Actually, this needs to be is less than, since we're starting at 0. This we need to make sure it's less than the max buffer. So let's do first of all, let's just do an if our buff I is equal to it's equal to 1, what we'll do is, I guess, what we'll do is so we could do like a really, really hacky method. We could do then we could just keep checking, or we could just do, let's try if is awful and I hate this. So that way, this is terrible. This is fucking awful. So if that way I would have to be equal to 1, the I plus 1 would have to be equal to 1, and the I plus 2 would have to be equal to 1, so that would be 3 ones in a row. We would then, I guess we'll have to have int size. We'll just say size equals I. So that would be at the very start of the position, so we can just, what if we just try doing, for now let's just try using size, I guess. First of all, let's see if it even works with a text file. Let's see. Uninitialized local var. Okay, well this is just a stupid ass fucking issue. Let's initialize this to 0. I hate that. Let's connect to it. Keylog. Uh-oh. I don't like what happened. And in this case, there was just nothing. So that's a disaster. Let me clear this. So it may have just not even found a size, apparently. That looks more likely. The question is no point, because there would have to be at some point, there would have to be like a entry point to that, I guess. Like, yeah, I'm not quite sure. That's interesting. This is basically just a this is like a hard code pattern scanner at this point. Not a big fan of this. It's just annoying. Maybe I'll have to find like a better method of even I guess that's what I'll do. I'll just make it to where it's not going to do that shit at all. We'll just have this exact same thing. We'll just send max buff each time. And I'm not going to do this. This is first going to be this. Then what we're going to do is have the exact same thing sent. We're just going to send... You can just send the opcode for nothing. We could just send hex 90, but what I'll do is I'll just say, this. I guess we'll just have... I'll just have a null byte that's sent through randomly. This can't just be a single char, by the way. Actually, no, I'm sorry, this needs to be it. I don't know what I'm doing right now, but I am hella tired, so this also needs to be cast as just a basic char pointer. This, and then this is just obviously the size of 1. And it'll have no opcode. So that looks good. So we're at server, and what we're gonna do instead is we're gonna say at the beginning here, once we accept this, instead of writing, we're first going to check to see if the received file bytes, in this case the first byte, is equal to, well, in that case it's kind of hard to do, so I'll just make this 01. Why not? That'll be the file break. Excuse me, COVID, such. And this is actually file bytes, my bad. Okay, looks good, I guess. We'll try this instead. Not all that excited, but here we go, I guess. Oops. it says done sending. Did it work? It did work, but oh boy, we have a ton of cock shit afterwards, which can only assume is that hex 1 that I put. That's right, I forgot to remove this mem set. I just need to zero this buffer, and it worked. I'll just do this cock shit. Oops. Let's do buff, max buffer. No, I'm not sure exactly if, because technically this should work, right? Let's do this. Actually. I did not mean to close that. Hold up. Alright. Now it's open, so nope. Now I'm gonna try sending this PNG over. So let's see, it looks good. Alright, sorry, just a second, OBS. I get right client. I'm just going to go to not HXD. What am I doing? I'll just go to properties. I'll just paste this at the end because this is hard coded, like we said. So once again, if we can get this working properly, then it'll be good. And this is going to be a .jpeg. This will make sure it's a clone, and this is not going to go to here. This is go to properties. I'll just do this, and we have to do the literal backslash. So let's do this. Okay, let's go and run that instead. And we might have to go to HXD and remove those last few bytes, but theoretically this should work now. Well, we have to connect to this first. And key log, here we go. Or will it ever even reach the end? That's another good one. Knowing the size of this, it probably will never even reach the end. The size is not very much at all. Should have been done by now. Okay, so that did not work at all. Zero bytes. Okay, sounds about right for something I made. I'm not exactly sure why, because this should have been done by now, and it's just looks like it's just hitting zeros constantly, which basically what that is for this, it's just a debugging statement I put, which is just print if it's at the end of the file, and that's just a bool, so that's just, right now it's just saying false, basically. That's this line of code right here. So it's not working, obviously, so that's not good at all. That's wacky. So I need to know now, because it never reached the end of the file, so I might have fucked something up, and it looks like that's because I didn't put that JPEG here. Are you serious? Alright, well, let's pretend that didn't happen. Excuse me. I'm gonna dump this in the garbage. This is not open. No. Is it open in rat server? Oh, that's right. I'm gonna just close that. Let's forget that happened. Let's first launch the server, because this is a disaster and a half. Alright, let's go to rat client now, and let's add the .jpeg to the end. This is no guarantee of working, but I would like to think that it's working. In that case, no wonder it never reached the end of the file, because it never even had a file to work with. Come on, this better work now. But now it's just 1.28 megabytes. Which I have no clue what this consists of. Alright, let's close both of this, because this is just a nightmare and a half. I don't know what the hell happened. Let's go to HXD and compare the two. I have no clue why it's not working. I really don't. Let's take this one and open the one that's on our desktop, which is this. And that explains a lot. This is just a ton of nothing. That seems to be what's happening. This is just a ton of cock shit. Question is why, because I mean, it works with everything else. It doesn't seem to want to work with this. So why is that? That's interesting. There's the alphabet. I'm a little bit confused right now. Because it's just, I mean, it does not want to work right now. Just wrote nothing to this. I still don't know why. I really don't know why at all. It looks like it just kept going with it too. It could be a way that this received the bytes potentially, but I would say that it's probably not it, because our client itself never even thought it terminated. It was just sending a ton of nothing. So I have to say if it's probably the way we're reading the file, but I still don't know why. It should have still worked. Maybe I need to open in binary mode, if I had to say. Maybe that's what I'll do. So never really understood what the open modes really did, because I thought that for the most part it was just the exact same thing. Maybe not. Alright, anyways, I'm going to delete this because that was a disaster. Let's make this open mode binary as well. Alright. Still don't know. I still don't know why, but whatever. Pretend I do. Pretend like I know what the hell's going on. C++ after all this makes no sense. Just kidding. It makes plenty of sense, but I'm just fucking up for some reason. I'm a little bit wee brain dead. Uh-oh. Same horse shit, I guess. Still hasn't reached the end. I wasn't really surprised to hear that. Question is why it doesn't think that it's reaching the end of the file, which is a huge deal. It means that this stream must be busted. Alright, let's go and close both of these, and let's analyze them both under Hex Editor again. Close that. Let's open the actual one that we have now. And it's still nothing. Alright. I do not know why at all. I'm completely clueless as to this. I really don't know. The question is, would it work with anything else, right? Would it work? Because I remember last time it worked with an executable. So what I'll do instead is have this do this. Let's have it do this executable. .exe. We don't really want it to, because we're not trying to make it to where we can run this exe, because plenty of shit will be missing. Typically, you're not even going to grab an exe, but that is supposed to be 64. I saw that. I'm way too good for this universe. Smartest programmer to ever live. Alright, here we go. I'm Terry A. Davis, by the way. I'm just warning you, I'm that highly intelligent. Alright. we got the shadow injector thing that we're looking for. The question is this thing... Oh! It did get the, that data that it needed to be, Holy shit. That's really promising. That is very promising. There's no doubt in my mind that this got everything, because look at that. You see that Windows Defender thing? That's contained in the data on disk, and it was able to copy that over. And it actually runs. Okay. Okay. So it looks like executables it works on, but now the question remains: why does it not work on? Why the hell does it not work on images? Why did it not work on that JPEG? I couldn't be more surprised that this actually works. Being completely honest here, because I would think that executables would be the last thing to work, and it looks like you see that there's 5 kilobytes remaining for null bytes. That's why this is 5 kilobytes extra in size. Like if we go to HXD, again, I know, I'm sorry, but we're working with files here, it's kind of important, and we open this one, it looks like everything got copied down perfectly, and at the end you have a ton of null bytes that were created by the server, which don't actually affect the functionality of the executable itself, but they're there because who the hell knows. But that's pretty good, I guess, that worked. But the question still remains, why the hell did it not work on this? It's possible that this one got busted in the past, so it's just not going to work at all. So maybe I should do something else. Maybe I should work on a different image. Alright, maybe I should just not work on an Oculus image for a second. League of Legends. There's Amnesia, there's a lot of shit. There's Roblox. There's Zoom. There's a ton of shit on here. Damn, I have what, some 3D models and shit. Maybe it's because a while ago I tried to work on it with that same image, and it's possible the stream on it just got absolutely shit on, but I could not be more impressed that this actually worked. That's great. This is just, we enter one. I mean, it works perfectly, which is fantastic. Couldn't be happier about that. So it seems that thing that we did actually did work. It's janky as shit, but I guess if it works with most everything, that's good. And you might ask why the hell is that under keylog? Well, that's because just fucking ignore it, please. So what if we wanted to do this right here? Because this is kind of like a binary right here. So why not do this? That's what I'm saying. See, properties, just open properties. You know what, why not? Let's try to copy this. I still am very impressed with how that worked, because that worked very, very well. Well, you know what, I'm actually gonna comment that out, I know. Properties for this. This is obviously just current key.blend. This is just a Blender file. If we open this, then let's see, here we go. So we know. And then the exact same thing will be just current key dot blend. Alright, let's try it. Say go for it. It keeps all the binary data. Well, that's true. There's going to be some null bytes at the end, so I'm not exactly sure. It's not like an exe where that shit. Since this is not like a. This is like an actual thing itself, so I'm not sure about that. So, what the hell am I doing? Let's connect to it. Command keylog. looks like it sent that as text. Or something happened, but let's open this. It's only 16 kilobytes, so it looks like it just shit on everything for the most part. Real question is why this got sent to the output, because that should just not have happened at all. I have no clue why that happened. Looks like something must have made it through. I'm assuming. But I still don't know why I'd started with that order, because it shouldn't even have been able to do this, so I'm still very confused. But as far as I'm concerned, the actual server itself isn't busted, it just got slowly shit on. So we're still having a ton of issues with this, and I honestly want to call it quits, but it's kind of early to call it quits in this stream. But I'm just kind of, I'm out of ideas. Well, I'm not out of ideas completely, but I mean, we got an executable transferred over. That's pretty good, but it's really, really, really bad to say the least. It's at best mediocre. I mean, this is definitely not something I'd put in the final one. And obviously, file transfer is kind of a nightmare in general. It's fucking awful, but you know, it can be pretty useful. So, it's just kind of a problem. I'm not exactly sure how to fix this, because there's lots and lots of issues with that. Like, why did that dump everything to the output? Like, if it just doesn't make sense to me. If I try to open this in Blender, it'll just be nothing. It'll probably just be probably won't even be a texture there. Oh wait, was it just the default cube? That's even better. Just nothing happened at all. Let's see, this looked to be a complete nightmare. I really, really don't know why this happened. I'll say that. I don't get it. I just don't. So maybe I'll work on the file transfer a little bit later, and I'll work on some other stuff, but as far as technical shit, I mean, it's kind of as far as it comes. So, yeah, I'm gonna end the stream here.